What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, SpazPhoenix, the YWC Reality Check. And yes, before people start dropping comments in the comment section below, yes, I know everything behind me looks dim. I need a new light bulb for my fixture. It's all fucked up. It takes a specific bulb. I know it probably looks funny if you're interested in actually looking at me as opposed to just listening to me while you carry on with whatever you're doing, because I'm sure that's what a lot of people do. Yeah. I have to say, not to sound completely corny for a second, I am humbled by you guys, because I know I have a loyal following when I do a Monday Night Raw review one day late. It's Tuesday, I get up, I logged on sometime around lunchtime today with about 4 or 5 messages asking me where my Raw review was. Now, I've heard other people say stuff like that in the past, on their channels, and they talk about, oh my god, you know, don't these people know that I have a life, I can't live on YouTube, da-da-da-da. I don't get it, because if they're clamoring for your videos, obviously they like what you're doing, and that's exactly how I took it. So I'm not going to name names, I'm not going to sit here and kiss ass or say that other people are kissing my ass or whatever, but the fact that I log in not even 12 hours after Raw and people are asking me where my Raw review is, that's kind of cool to me. I'm not going to lie. So to my loyal viewers out there, thank you very much. That's very, very cool to see. A little bit of house cleaning, a little bit of paperwork, if you want to call it that, before we get into the Raw review. Bone Duster, my buddy Marcus Warrens. Not everybody's cup of tea here in the YWC, but he's helped me out with a few things in the past little while. He is trying to win some kind of... I'm not a big death metal guy, fan of that sort of music, but he's trying to win some sort of concert contest. All the information for it is on his channel in a video. Apparently all you have to do is go and click a link, and if he gets enough links, then he's going to some concert for free or something like that. So if you want to do me a favor, do him a favor, etc., 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 go to his channel, find the video about this concert that this contest, I can speak, I swear, that he's trying to win. Give him a click. It takes 5 seconds to click your mouse and not do anything else, so, you know, there's no reason we can't help each other out. Next, I finally found the time and the opportunity to get together with John, youtube.com/VocalAggression, and we finally did crank out Grappler's Grab Bag episode 2. It's the last video on this channel before this one. Please check it out. This one is well shorter than the last one. I think the first one we did was 4 hours and 9 minutes. This one is just under 3 hours. It's a lot of fun. There's no editing botches in this one that people liked pointing out to me in the last one, because we had a better recorder, etc. We had a great silent studio audience in Preston, the 619 Loyalist, and Dalyxman. It was a lot of fun. I feel very privileged to work with some of the people that I work with here on YouTube. Not just John, but Alex, Preston, Cara, Angela, NJ. There's other people that I plan on working with. Anybody that I have worked with, you guys are awesome. There's not a single person that I've worked with here in YouTube that I wouldn't work with again on another video in a second if given the opportunity. So that's that. Go back one video and go check out Grappler's Grab Bag. Go back a couple of videos, you'll see a video that's just me asking for questions for a July Q&A that I will be doing. If you have anything you've ever wanted to ask me about what I do, what I watch, what I think, etc., drop your Q&A questions in the comment section of that video. The Q&A will be done, I'm hoping, the first week in July. I can't make any promises. Everybody knows out there in internet land, as soon as you put a date or a time on something, something will come and fuck it up, and you will end up doing it the next day or the next day, like a Raw review, for example. Now let's get into Raw. This was a 3-hour Raw, and at the end of the night, I'm not going to say this show was perfect, but what I will say is if this is what we're going to get when we have a 3-hour Raw continuously, then I can't wait for the 1000th episode and that 3-hour era to begin, because this show was phenomenal. It was a lot of fun. Even the stuff that annoyed me didn't annoy me to the point where it took away from the show, if that makes any sense. We had a lot of surprises, and, you know, surprises are always fun, but the constant stuff is escalating to a point where I was yelling at my TV and waking up the rest of my house, etc. I haven't been that excited about wrestling in a long time, and considering we're all leading up to a pay-per-view that I, up until this point, haven't put very much stock in, that's pretty good for a Raw, isn't it? We start the show with John Laurinaitis coming out for his performance review. He comes out first. He's about to speak. He's cut off by Vince McMahon's music. There is nothing like Vince McMahon's music and Vince McMahon's entrance. Vince McMahon doing the McMahon power walk that nobody else can do, but everybody else tries, and it's amazing. Starts it off right away. I'm not going to shake your hand. I don't know where your hand's been. This is a job evaluation. This is business, not pleasure. Give me one reason why I shouldn't fire you. And the crowd goes nuts. I will say, the Connecticut crowd tonight, or last night, I guess I should say, was very, very good, because they didn't boo a lot of stuff. It was one of those crowds that was really, really hot for the stuff that they liked and silent for the rest, which is better than booing somebody. Laurinaitis says, oh, I've brought up people power, and he accidentally says, oh, we've got the 100th Raw coming up soon, and it's like, okay, facepalm number one. He says, people love me, even though he's shouting it over Fire Johnny chants. Vince brings up Lesnar and Heyman and the 2 lawsuits. He brings up Big Show and the big contract that he just did, and that the Big Show hasn't really done anything relevant since 1999, which is, you know, Vince McMahon speaking for anybody that agrees with, I don't know, me. I do it all. I'm the Raw GM, I'm the SmackDown GM, I'm the manager of Superstar Relations, and da-da-da-da-da, and this and that and the next thing. He's interrupted by Sheamus. And you know that WWE is putting a lot of stock in somebody if he's got Sheamus in the ring with the boss, and then the boss's boss in an opening promo, which I thought was really, really cool. Johnny is a friend. Yeah, he's a friend. He'll give you a $500,000 fine just for not, just for kicking a referee, and he'll hold a grudge just because you happen to nudge him. And Vince stops him to announce that Fire Johnny is trending worldwide, and that is met with Daniel Bryan style yes chants, which is awesome. Sheamus goes on to say that Laurinaitis is the worst GM ever, and he wants to kick him out on his arse, and Laurinaitis gets all huffed up. Oh, how dare you, da-da-da-da-da. Vince cuts him off. You better impress me tonight or you're fired. John Laurinaitis leaves with his crutch, whatever, back up the rampway, all pissed off, leaves his little People Power mobile scooter at the side of the ring. Vince rides it up the ramp and then chucks it off the ramp. Good times, to be sure. Laurinaitis leaves Sheamus in the ring, and after the break it's announced that Sheamus is going to take on Lord Tensai. Now, not a huge fan of Lord Tensai. I had a lot of expectation when I heard that Michael Bloom is, I think, his name, or Matt Bloom. Anyways, Albert, A-Train, Hip Hop Hippo, Prince Albert, whatever you know him as. When I heard that he was coming back, I thought it was kind of cool, because I always was a fan of the Albert character, and I was never quite sure why. But it's been a very, very disappointing non-takeoff of a character. So for him to come out and have this brawl that he had with Sheamus, it didn't feel like a main eventer. It felt like Sheamus was working down to his level, but that was okay. It didn't feel important, if I can put it that way, but it was a lot of fun to watch, because it was literally just a brawl, and there's mosquitoes and such. There's a lot of, like, the theme of this match was really, really a stiff collar and elbow tie-up, like, you know, the metaphorical two bulls locking horns. Sheamus spent the entire match breaking Tensai down. Tensai, in his own right, didn't go down without a fight, but obviously the brogue kick gets the win for Sheamus. And the first of many odd announcements, or odd realizations for me tonight, because I did have the opportunity to watch wrestling with my cousin last night, who I'm trying to get back into wrestling and whatever, and the first thing that we noticed in this match is Lord Tensai's head really does look like a helmet, doesn't it? That doesn't have anything to do with anything, but it really does. Like, if, you know, God forbid Matt Bloom ever meets with foul play or whatever, somebody could use his skull as a motorcycle helmet, and it would probably, you know. Anyways, I don't know. We go to the back, we see what looks like a I'm losing my papers, guys. I am absolutely sorry. We see in the back Teddy Long, John Laurinaitis, David Otunga, Vince McMahon. They're all arguing over who's going to face Sheamus at the next pay-per-view, because Alberto Del Rio, depending on what dirt sheets you read, either has a concussion or a torn groin or both, or I don't know. It's hard to establish what's real and what's kayfabe, but bottom line, they need a new number one contender. Vicky Guerrero comes in and says, well, why don't I bring in Ziggler and Swagger and we can have a triple threat at the pay-per-view? I sat there thinking no, because there's already one triple threat match that I'm questioning at the pay-per-view. And then Teddy Long pipes up and says, why don't we have Khali, Christian, Ziggler, and Swagger in a fatal four-way tonight on Raw for the #1 contendership? And Vince tells Laurinaitis that he has small hands, because Laurinaitis tries to do a fist bump, and it's very, very awkward. We go back to the ring, and Lord Tensai is still in the ring. He beats the crap out of Sakamoto. So I'm thinking, okay, we're going to have brand new story development here. Somebody's going to come in, somebody's going to break up this beating, somebody's going to feel bad for Sakamoto or something. But he just beats him down, and that's it. I really don't know what to say. We have the first of a lot of video packages leading up to the 1000th episode of Raw. This particular one was a reflection sort of video on the night that Seth Green was the guest host. For those of you that remember when we had the whole slew of guest hosts, and he got to be the tag team partner of Triple H and John Cena. And that was cool. We had a bunch of other video packages throughout the night. I didn't write them all down because it's all just build for the 1000th episode of Raw, which is cool. WWE, obviously, as I've said a million times before, does great with the video packages, but I don't think I need to mention it 3 or 4 times in one review. No, I don't. R-Truth has an interview segment in the back, and also dirt sheets, etc. tell us that R-Truth broke his foot. So it's like, okay, how are we going to write him off storyline? Well, we're going to do it this way. You know, playing up on the fact that Big Show beat them up a couple weeks ago. The interview asked how he was, and, you know, this and that and the next. I'm fine. I'm totally cool. I'm going to put on a happy face. But little Jimmy is traumatized, and he's scared of the Big Show, and da-da-da-da-da. And randomly starts spewing off, I can't wait till John Cena beats up the Big Show at the next pay-per-view. And then you get the off-screen weapon of mass destruction punch to R-Truth and knocks him out. And that's fine. We have next the most bizarre mixed tag I think I've ever seen in my life, when Santino Marella and Layla took on Beth Phoenix and Ricardo. Now, if you ignore that Santino's a goofball, and if you ignore that Ricardo was even there, we had a Great Divas match, because they were the legal competitors for like 99% of the match, so I enjoyed the Great Divas match. Glam Slam obviously got the victory for Beth Phoenix, leading into their match this Sunday, which is great. You know, a little bit of build. They had a solid women's match with these guys just goofballing around on the outside. After the match, Santino stripped off Ricardo Rodriguez's tuxedo jacket and shirt, and he had a Justin Bieber shirt underneath, and it's all very, very horrible. Somebody please come and save the U.S. title from Santino and this bullshit rivalry that he has going on with an announcer. Oh, yes. Kofi comes to the back, faces Laurinaitis face to face, and says, I want Big Show tonight. Laurinaitis makes the match, Big Show versus Kofi tonight, in a steel cage as a precursor for this Sunday's match with John Cena. Daniel Bryan comes out to a lot of yes chants, etc. Talks about the triple threat and how one of these things just doesn't belong. Kane and Punk are both weak because of my ex AJ, and why would AJ want either of them when they've had all of when she's had all of this? And he does his whole, once you've had Daniel Bryan, you'll stop all your trying, or whatever he said about that. Then he did Q&A time with Daniel Bryan, which is everybody's favorite Monday night game, I'm sure at this point. You know, am I gonna win? Yes. Are the other two not as great as me? Yes. Da da da. Even though the crowd is mostly saying no at this point. Punk comes out. And he says, for somebody that's over AJ, you sure talk about her a lot. She's out of your league. You're not in my league. I dig crazy chicks. I'm the champ, and I became the champ on my own terms, and you have basically become a prick since you've come to the main event scene. Kane comes out and said, you know, let me remind you all who I am. You guys talk about verbal pipe bombs. I'm going to start laying down legitimate ones. This Sunday I will win the belt. AJ comes out, psycho as ever, which I love, looks at Kane, says that she's seen Kane's heart and he's not the monster that he thinks he is, and she thinks he really is a kind soul, etc. Turns her attention to Daniel Bryan. She says, you know, you never forget about your first love, and that's not true. I haven't forgotten about you. Turns to Punk and says, you're basically the coolest guy I've ever met. May the best man win, etc. Crazy chicks chant. The crowd started chanting Crazy Chicks halfway through this promo. halfway through this promo segment, the crowd was chanting Crazy Chicks. And also, as soon as Punk called Daniel Bryan a goat face, they were chanting goat face, and goat face was, yes, #1 trend worldwide. Laurinaitis comes in to make another announcement. My big fear was that he was going to make AJ the referee in the triple threat match on Sunday. But no, oh no, we got something even better, because we have Kane and Daniel Bryan versus Punk and AJ later tonight. Oh yes, clusterfuck? I think so. We have the Fatal 4-Way for the #1 contendership to Sheamus' world title. And let me say something, guys. If you didn't already know before Raw started tonight that Ziggler was going to replace Alberto Del Rio, this really set it up, didn't it? I mean, let's see. You've got Christian, who's already got a match this Sunday, 2 jobbers, and Ziggler. But it's elimination rules, so the 3 of them pile on Khali, eliminate him pretty quickly. Christian gets the kill switch on Swagger, but Ziggler picks up the pin. Ziggler uses a single leg Walls of Jericho on Christian, which was really, really cool looking, and I kind of marked for that. Christian hit a really short distance spear, and Zigzag got the win for Ziggler. Ziggler versus Sheamus, which we've already seen twice in the past 2 weeks, is going to be the SmackDown main event this Sunday at No Way Out. Is it better than the actual main event of the show? Absolutely. But who knows? We have another Vince segment in the back where he gets cornered by Natalya Neidhart, wanting Vince McMahon to do more things with the Hearts and get all the Hearts together on TV again, because they talked about WrestleMania, this and that and the next thing. Then he's confronted by Brodus Clay's Funkadactyls, whatever, trying to get him to let Brodus Clay come back on Raw, which doesn't work, but they hit the Brodus Clay music, and Vince McMahon does the worst Funkasaurus dance ever with the Funkadactyls. When it's finally over and the lights return to normal and the girls walk away, they pan the camera to Zack Ryder, who's just watching it with the absolute most dumbstruck look on his face ever. Vince McMahon, in true Vince McMahon form, woo woo woo, you know it! And more dumbstruck face, and we go back to commercial break. After the break, we get Ryback versus Jobbers, and it's death, but with one exception. Every time Ryback has a match, they do something different. He introduces a new move, he introduces a new 1-on-2 move, or there's some new element that comes in. This element was that one of the guys tried to leave, and Ryback actually battled him on the outside, gave it a little bit more of a brawl feeling before he killed them. Moving on. Vince McMahon and Hornswoggle in the back, trading Jim Ross impressions, are interrupted by Cena, who's bashing Laurinaitis, you have to fire him, da-da-da-da-da. Vince reminds Cena that he lost to The Rock at Mania, and I laugh my ass off. Then Otunga comes in, tries to talk up Vince McMahon, gets a speech about kissing ass and how Vince McMahon hates ass kissers, and then we pan to the end of the couch where William Regal is sitting with a very, very sad, sheepish look on his face. That made me laugh a lot. Show versus Kofi in a cage. Kofi got owned. Like a lot. One small flurry by Kingston, and he managed to hit the Trouble in Paradise, but yeah, that was about it. He almost escaped after the Trouble in Paradise, got the fuck owned out of him by the Big Show in the cage, and Big Show, you know, trots himself out of the cage with no particular rush or hurry, on to victory, on to this Sunday, on to John Cena. Sin Cara versus Kurt Hawkins. What can I say? Sin Cara, since he's been back, has looked great. They gave him the new ring attire. They're making minor changes to his entrance, which I think is really cool. They're still using the Sin Cara mood lighting for his matches, which I really, really don't like. Kurt Hawkins, I'm just happy to see on TV. He didn't stand out in this match. I don't think he was supposed to. He was there to be the other body while Sin Cara did what Sin Cara does. But, at the same time, for him to be there on Raw, show that he can keep up with Sin Cara, is a great thing for him as well, and it's a chance for him to step out of his tag team role and have a solo match. So I think everybody won in this, even though you knew who was going to win before the match started. Vince versus Daniel Bryan, or not versus, but Vince and Daniel Bryan have a segment in the back where Daniel Bryan tries to kiss up to him and talk about how they have so much in common because they're both, you know, they're both self-made successes, and they don't, you know, they don't take a step back from anybody, etc., etc., etc. But Vince turns to Daniel Bryan, looks him square in the face, and he says, "Yeah, except I haven't done anything in 18 seconds." That was funny. That made me laugh a lot. We are told right before the commercial break that in the realm of people power and in recognition of almost being at 1,000 shows, there's somebody tonight who's a former WWE main eventer that's going to be a guest on the show, etc., etc. We come back and Heath Slater is in the ring cutting a really, really bad promo saying it's Slater time. And then we hear over the announced speakers, "It's Vader time!" And oh my god, it was Vader. And because I've been playing so much WWE 12, and he is one of the unlockable characters, and he's a lot of fun to play as, I marked a lot. Vader came in, and let's be honest, folks, anybody that saw Raw owns the fuck out of Heath Slater in the funniest squash match of the night. Vader's not exactly any kind of young gun anymore, is he? But he came back after not being in the WWE for I don't know how long, and he's still a big guy. He's not the most slim and trim, you know. He's not going to be doing any supermodel ads anytime soon, but he can still get it done in the ring. The crowd's sitting there chanting, "You still got it." I can't really argue because he's as good as he was. I'm not saying that Vader was ever one of the best guys in the company, but he's as good. He was as good last night as he ever was. I'll say that. Vader wins after a Vader bomb. Everybody goes home happy. The people that watched, you know, back in the Attitude Era and even before that, or even watched, you know, WCW or anything like that where Vader used to be, got their little nostalgia moment of the night, and that was really, really cool. Now, holy crap. The psychotic soap opera continues. Kane and Daniel Bryan versus Punk and AJ. And I want you guys to look at this, because I didn't write any notes for this match. All I wrote was wow. Because, yeah. Basically, Kane owns Punk for a while, throws Punk into his own corner, which the referee perceives as a tag. AJ Lee comes in, scared at first, then eventually stands up, eventually looks Kane in the eye, being very crazy, being very, you know, nutty as she is. Starts doing this little schoolgirl skipping thing around Kane, and then mounts him and sucks face with him for a good 30 seconds or so, to which I'm like, how the fuck is the crispy critter creep known as Kane that fucking lucky? Dear God. But, eventually she comes down. Eventually she comes down, and Kane looks at her, and basically in his own, you know, sort of silent Kane way, sort of shakes his head and stumbles over to the corner, tags Daniel Bryan, and leaves. And basically it was like, I don't know what just happened, I'm the fuck out. And leaves Daniel Bryan to get destroyed by CM Punk. Which CM Punk does, because he's awesome. AJ and CM Punk get the win. AJ poses in the ring after the match, you know, cross-legged in the middle of the ring like Punk does when he does his pipe bomb promos. And CM Punk is left in the corner basically being like, what the hell have I gotten myself into? And I am not doing this any justice. Anybody that didn't see Raw, try to find at least this match, because it's so fucked and it's so good. And the psychology and the craziness of this storyline, I now value Kane being involved in this, because initially I was thinking sort of, when we see Punk and Bryan, we want a wrestling match. We want that 5-star Matt classic that all the smarks would love to see more of all the time. And Kane being involved in the match makes it a completely different kind of match. Storyline-wise, psychology, and I don't mean ring psychology-wise, I mean general psychology-wise, I get why Kane had to be a part of this now. I'm not saying I'm a fan of him being a part of the match itself. I definitely understand the element that he brings to this story, if that makes any sense. Because ultimately, this square is just another step in the long road that I'm hoping will be a long, drawn-out story between Punk and Bryan. AJ's going to be in there for the long haul as well, I'm willing to bet. I don't think Kane will always be involved in the storyline, but I think right at this corner, right at this crux of the story right now, he is crucial. And I'm almost, you know, shaking my head as I realize how long it took me to realize Kane's place in the story. But that was that. You know, Kane's destroyed everybody in the WWE over the years, but an interaction with AJ, 95 pounds, soaking wet, psycho AJ, made him walk away. And that's fucking phenomenal. AJ Lee has not had a one-on-one Divas match that I can remember. And she's still the most important diva in the WWE right now. And that's well superseding the current champion. So, good on you, AJ. Crazy looks good on you. Then we have Vince and Laurinaitis back out in the ring, and basically Ace begs for his job, and Vince makes fun of people power. Show comes out, and this is what I loved. This is what I wanted to see from the Big Show. If he was going to have any interaction with anybody other than John Cena, I wanted him to cut this promo. Big Show is not always known for his promos. He's got some diamonds in the rough that have been fantastic, absolutely, especially recently. Cuts the promo of his life on Vince McMahon. Says he's tired of, you know, doing this and that, tired of all the politics and all the silly bullshit that he had to do to have a job. How Vince told him nobody would want a scary giant, they want a big cuddly guy that they can have fun with and laugh with, etc. And now I can be a giant, da-da-da-da-da. Cena comes out and really, like he always does, downplays the situation that he's in. Blah, 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 blah. At one point has the arrogance to try and put himself over as the underdog, which was ridiculous. Eventually it ends up in a scuffle between Cena and Show, and we get the idea that if Show doesn't win on Sunday, that Laurinaitis is going to get fired, and that's left very, very vague. In the scuffle, Vince McMahon eats a weapon of mass destruction punch from the Big Show. John Cena sort of sits there with oh my gosh face, and that's how we end the show. I don't really know what to say, guys. We have 4 matches, or 5 matches, going into No Way Out. We have the cage match. We have Ziggler versus Sheamus, which should be good. We have the triple threat for the WWE title. We have Christian versus Rhodes for the IC title, which, mark my words, is going to steal the night. Christian and Rhodes, although it doesn't have very much build, it's got a very simple build, that will be the match that will steal the night, I'm pretty sure. We have Layla versus Beth Phoenix for the Divas title. We have... It hurts to say. It really, really hurts to say, but I'm going to try and say it without vomiting. We have Brodus Clay. We have Brodus Clay versus David Otunga on the pre-show. Yes, because Fatosaurus Rex and David O. Blunder are going to be the ones that are going to make you want to watch the show. You heard me. Fatosaurus Rex and David O. Blunder. Oh, yes. Now, score fail and MVP. Now, I try to be nice. I try to put myself off as at least somewhat respectable most of the time, but I don't care. In this case, I'm pretty sure most of you, at least the guys out there, will forgive me because I am a guy. Everything down there works. My first score of the night is the fact that AJ Lee's t-shirts get smaller and tighter every week. Oh, yes. Seriously, though, Vince McMahon back on Raw. There is nobody else like Vince McMahon. And I'm not even going to get into it. You know, some people are going all on about da-da-da-da-da, this and that. Well, he was making fun of JR. Man, let's go cry and whatever. But, you know, he's dancing with the Funkettes. He's joking around with, you know, this person and that person. He's shooting down Daniel Bryan. There's nobody that can universally go up and down onto the level of every person they interact with like Vince McMahon. And, the other thing I will say is Vince McMahon, in his career, has been the most loved and the most hated person in wrestling at the same time. Because the Vince McMahon boss heel character is one of the most hated characters in all of wrestling. I mean, just look back at the success of the McMahon-Austin feud. But strip away the Vince McMahon character and go to Vince McMahon the man, he's basically the godfather of modern-day professional wrestling. So you almost have to love him. You just do. That's how I see it. The Divas in the mixed tag had a great Divas match. That's all I'm going to say. Despite being surrounded by stupid bullshit, they had a decent Divas match building to their match on Sunday. The entire Kane, Bryan, Punk, AJ situation is phenomenal. When Vince McMahon was doing his Dancing with the Funkettes, I said it before, I'll say it again, Ryder's face, priceless. I can't describe it properly unless you go back and watch it, but Ryder's face just like so. Ryback adding another new thing to his repertoire, fighting with one of the guys outside. He's got the slow build. He's introducing something different to us each and every week, which I like. He's not just, you know, Goldberg, spear, pin, spear, pin, spear, pin, repeat as necessary. Throughout the night, they had the countdown clock to McMahon's decision. And I think that did good. It was a little tiny thing, and if you didn't notice it, it wouldn't have taken away from the show at all. But to have that there, it built the anticipation that I hope was already there, because it was there for me. But it was a nice little extra. Vader being on Raw. Enough said. Big Show's promo on Vince, I will go as far as I can remember. Best promo Big Show's ever done. Best and most effective promo the Big Show has ever done. Fails, I've only got two. The Sin Cara lighting is always going to be a fail for me until they fix it, so that's just going to be on every fail sheet I have from now until they change it. So, yeah, that's that. The Santino bullshit with Ricardo. Santino's crap. Ricardo is actually more entertaining than Santino, which is sad, because Santino's still carrying a piece of tin around with him. I'm going to be doing a video in the next little while, or it may be a collab, or it may be a little while coming, but I am going to put out a video eventually, my thoughts on what they should do with the US title, so stay tuned for that. My Fave 5. Oh dear, it was hit or miss with my Fave 5 this week. Punk was part of a great promo with a couple of other crazy people known as Daniel, Bryan, Kane, and AJ. He also wins his match tonight, which is basically a glorified handicap match against Daniel, Bryan, and Kane. That's always impressive. Orton is still suspended. Miz is off making movies. Ziggler is the new #1 contender for Sheamus' World Heavyweight Championship. Oh yes, and Rhodes was not on this show, and I don't know why, but whatever. MVP of this week's Monday Night Raw Super Show 3-hour spectacular has got to be AJ Lee. She is a 95-pound soaking wet psychotic #1 element in the WWE Championship title picture. That's fucking phenomenal. That's all I've got. Anyways, guys, sorry this is a day late, but you know the drill. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, let me know what you think. Yeah. Botched my ending. Let me know what you think, don't be a stranger, and I will talk to each and every last one of you later. I'm out, guys. Tagging out. Bye.